Hey guys, I'm Chris and you're watching Southern CNC Designs. Today we're going to turn this piece of scrap into this. Watch and find out how we do it. Stay tuned. Now, just so you guys know, if you're in the market for a sander, I got this little Bauer mouse, something or another, some kind of mouse sander from Harbor Freight. And I'll tell you what, this thing has been through the ringer. It has sanded for hours and hours and hours and hours, I promise you. So I think it was like 30 bucks or something maybe. If I'm wrong, I'll post that right here. But if you're in the market for a cheap sander that will work, this one works good. So one of today's main characters is actually going to be this stuff called Aura Mask. This right here is a real lifesaver when it comes to having, when you need to machine like a line in a piece of wood or anything. You put this stuff down first, right? And then when you machine it, it'll cut it out perfectly. So whenever you go to paint it, you'll have a nice clean line. But in order to get that clean line, there's a few things that you need to do, some tips and tricks, and I'm going to show you guys that right now. Guys, so I cut us a sheet that is roughly the same size as our workpiece. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off this paper backing. Super easy once you get a corner going. But you got to be careful when you start peeling this, don't let it roll back on itself. I mean, this stuff's pretty dang sticky. Now I have the paper backing off. The next thing I want to make sure is whenever I go to lay this down, that I lay it down squarely to my workpiece. And you got to make sure you got your length and stuff right. It might take a couple times, don't get no rush, because if you do, you probably will mess it up. So I'm going to kind of find that edge. I'm going to try to stay right on it. Come on, you little booger. Oh. About like that. And I try to work it from the center out. Just like that. We'll get that first side on pretty good. That's looking okay. So now what I'm going to do is just slowly, or I'm just going to drop it. That's okay. I got this rag here. What I like to do is apply a lot of pressure all over this thing to make sure it's on there really good. So now that it's kind of laid flat, we'll just evenly slide our hand across of it. And I don't really feel any bubbles, so that's pretty good. You don't want a bunch of bubbles. So I just take a rag like this. Some people use scrapers, and or they got little rollers made for this stuff. I don't really use that. I just use this, and then I kind of apply a lot of force and just kind of press all that glue that's on this Aura mask, down into the wood. It's pretty self-explanatory. So as you can see beside me, I've got the wood down. We've got it nailed to our MDF wasteboard. We've got our Aura mask installed. It's nicely pressed down and even across this whole thing. So what's next is we're going to move our tool paths from our laptop over to the G control panel here. And we'll get everything powered up, and then we'll be ready to start cutting something. So I want to show y'all a couple quick things inside the VCarve Pro software by Vectric. This is a very, very good software for CNC routers. So the first thing I want to show you is how to import a bitmap. So up here at the top left, you got this little, it looks like a bird or something. We'll click on that, and then we'll go to our file right here, and we'll click on that, and then we have our image. So this image came straight from the customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for now, move it over here. If for any reason you ever wanted that to go away, you can click right here and it'll toggle the bitmap visibility on and off. So say if it was covering something up and you didn't want it to, you can just click that and make all your bitmaps disappear. So that kind of comes in handy right here on this next step. So as you can see, when I click on this, we get a pink dotted line all the way around this. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to select Trace Bitmap. Whenever I select Trace Bitmap, all this whole little box pops up and it's got a bunch of stuff in here. So typically I swap it to black and white. if it's a black and white image. Well, this one clearly is not. So what I do is I leave color on, and what I do is I kind of zoom in and I find a color that is, it takes up the most pixels. So to me, that would be this light brown color that you see kind of all over everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I always zoom in a little bit, and then I'll just select anywhere. So I'm going to click right here, left click, and as you can see, it finds every single pixel that is the same color of where I just clicked, and it highlights it red. If you zoom in, you can kind of see that it doesn't get every one of them. So that's why I like to zoom in, is I'll get in here close to a letter and I'll click right here. Oh, that didn't work. Click right here. Okay, that didn't work. So maybe we're close enough. Maybe that's as close as it can get. Some of this stuff you could select too. See how it just kind of gets more and more pixels selected. So now if we zoom out a little bit, you've got all these red pixels basically. That's where it's found that color and it's highlighted it. So there's some other features here like corner fit if you want it to be like tied around corners like this one right here, which typically I leave that pretty high. Noise filter. Noise is all this little stuff here and all this. That's noise. So you can usually turn it down, which I have it down. And bitmap fading I usually don't mess with. So once you have everything selected, we're going to hit preview. As you can see, it just drew lines around every one of those outlines that it found. So if you like it, what you basically do is you hit the apply button and then close this box. And now you can still see all the tracing that the trace feature did for us. What I like to do is I come up here and I'll turn my bitmap off. Remember that button I showed you a minute ago? Let's turn that off, and then you're left with all of your vectors. So it created every one of these vectors through that trace feature, which is incredible because that saves so much time. And you can see over here I've already done all the legwork of this. So I pretty much went this same route. I drew one, or I did a trace feature, and then what I do most of the time, you see how these lines are a little, some of them are jagged, and obviously you got to go through here and get all of these little pieces, the noise or whatever out of your way. You don't need any of that. So I'm just selecting every bit of this and I'm hitting delete. So anyway, what I normally do is I'll go in here and I'll grab a circle or an ellipse, whatever shape, or an arc, whatever shape it is I'm trying to draw, and I'll usually clean this up myself. So we could do that real quick, and then I'm going to get into the toolpaths because I don't want to bore you guys to death. I am going to remove some more of this stuff that we don't need right now. But let's just keep this simple. Let's just say we want to make this frame. I'm going to go up here, I'm going to grab rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle roughly the same shape as the current one I have, right? And this is up to you. You can do this however you please, and this is just kind of my way. So what I would do is I'd grab a circle tool, and what I'm going to do is I want to knock these corners out. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to grab that corner, I'm going to pull it down to, let's just say right there. All right. So now that we already have a circle, what I'm going to do is copy that. I'm going to hit Control C, then I'm going to hit Control V. And then if you come to this transform mode, little gadget here, if you press that, now we're able to move the copied one we just did around. And I'm going to move that over to this corner. I'm going to hit Control C and then Control V. And I'm going to move it down to this corner. I'm going to hit Control C, Control V. And you guys get the idea. I'm just kind of walking this around my shape here. So what I like to do now is I'll grab this trim tool. So grab it, and basically any object that you want, or line or vector that you want to go away, you will just snip it, just like that. It's that simple. So we'll snip that. Now I want to snip all this too because I want to be on the triangle, or I'm sorry, the rectangle that I made. So we're going to get rid of that, get rid of that. And there's our nice corner, right? So we're going to bump on over here and we'll do this one real quick. Okay, so as you guys can see now, I have the top two corners cut off, and we'll come down here and we'll just do this bottom one too real quick. Cut that, cut that. We'll do this one too, cut that, cut that. So now that we've done that, we can come up top here, and I want to kind of get this arch situated. So typically I would grab a circle. I'm going to come right around here in the middle, and I'm going to start drawing this circle. As you can see, our lines don't quite line up. So let's go over here and get this draw arc right here. So I'm going to select about where this arc goes into our new rectangle, and I'm going to come up here at the top, probably about right here, and then we'll give it a little bit of an arc. Now you can obviously do this differently. You can go on this arc. Let's try that. See how there's an arc here, and then it kind of goes back down and under. So what we probably need to do is, let's just try something. Let's just draw this line here. We'll grab us an arc from here. We'll go there. Boom. So there's that. We'll grab arc again. We'll go here. And let's just do here. And we'll kind of get it right on that line. So there's your more of a swooshing arc, if you will. And we can delete everything behind it. And that looks actually pretty dang good. So we'll grab, here's another thing I like to do. Since we have this, you know, drawn already, and we want it to be symmetrical, right? So what I can do is I can go up here, I'm going to join this first, make that one line. Then we can go here, and there's a mirror feature. Hit mirror, go right, and then boom, we've got that. And then I can just delete this circle that I used kind of to help us construct that. We'll get this, and we'll go ahead and cut here. So as you can see, guys, I actually spent a little more time in the VCarve software than I initially planned on in this video. We could get wrapped up into that for hours, and I would love to show you guys more, but please comment below if that's something that you guys would even be interested in watching. Okay, so now that the gold tool path has been complete, I went through and my wife actually put some of this gold colored rub and buff material on all of the gold lines. So what we're going to do now is I'm probably going to let this kind of dry for a minute, and then we're going to put probably need to put some tape over that, maybe just some painter's tape. And then what we'll do is we'll cut the black tool path, and then I can spray paint it, and you guys can kind of see where we're going with this, I bet, by now. We're going to go ahead and load our second session, or our tool path. This is going to be all of the black lettering. So once I've loaded that, I am going to go ahead and run my XYZ back home like so. Okay, and then I always kind of like to start, you know, close to where home is, because you can technically start this machine way over there somewhere if you want. It doesn't matter. I prefer to start it close to the origin or the home position, so that's just the way I do it. All right, so now that we're kind of close, or we're actually dead on X and Y, we're going to hit start, and then here she goes. Okay guys, so the second cut, this is for the black paint. All of this will be, you know, spray painted black. But you remember earlier in the video I told you that there's a certain method you really need to consider whenever you're using this ore mask. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get something called shellac right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shellac every single piece of this that's going to get the black paint. What that does is it creates a really good seal between the wood and your aura mask. So whenever you go to spray paint this thing, it doesn't start to bleed as bad. Okay, so this is the shellac that I was talking about. It dries clear. This is really good stuff. All it does basically is it seals all of these letters and little designs that we've cut into this wood. Okay everybody, so it's been a cool 24 hours since we did the black spray paint on top of the sign here. So as you can see, it is nice and dry. So the next step is just peeling off all this stencil. I'll set the camera down and let you guys see that for a minute. Usually just use a knife about like this right here. Just try to get down here and get underneath these little edges. Pretty much doesn't matter where you start, just wherever. Kind of peel that up slowly and then just start peeling it back. Pretty easy, just time consuming. Slowly start seeing how the gold can kind of complement that black spray paint. So once we get all this peeled off, what we'll do is we'll stain it with a golden oak, and man, it's going to look really good. Okay, so now that we got all the ore mask peeled off, we're going to use a 220 grit sandpaper. We're just going to lightly sand over the top of this. Don't go crazy with this or you could destroy some of the detail we just worked really hard for. So just a light sanding, that's all we need. We've got everything sanded down to 220 grit. All we have left to do now is we're going to do the holes right up here. We want those holes for our ribbon to hang through, so they'll have a way to hang it on their front door. And then we're going to do the main cutout. So the main cutout will go all the way around this interesting little shape here. This is a compression bit. So as you can see, the flutes kind of go up and down. It's going to be really hard for y'all to see that. It's a really good bit for cutting stuff out. So let's get that loaded up. Now that we got our compression bit loaded, what we've got to do now is we're going to zero out the Z to the top of this. So let's do that real quick. So we're going to go to load file. We're already in the folder that we were using the other day, front door sign, no soliciting. And then the last toolpath we have is drill. So that's actually going to drill the 2 holes that we were talking about. Right here. Oh, right there. And then it's also going to cut out that toolpath. It'll drill the holes first. Alright, job complete. I usually just jog this thing on out of my way, which we're done with it today. So this is one thing I absolutely love. Holy moly. Sorry. So one thing I really like about this machine is when I'm done with it at the end of the day, and I don't want it just out here hanging out in the middle of, nowhere, I just hit this button right here. I hit home. Watch. It homes your Z out, goes up, finds home. Simultaneously, it's moving the X home and it's moving the Y home. So once it gets back to its final position, it stops. And what's really cool about that, once you home it out every time, you have the ability to quick move this thing with these buttons up here. So watch this. If I wanted to move it to the far right side, I just press this back right corner. Watch this. So it's moving at 590 inches a minute. And then you say, oh, well, I want it up here, dude. Watch this. Oh, hold up. Oh, hold up. Oh. Now it's coming up here. Hopefully I don't hit my sander. Boom. So just kidding, I want it back in home. Look at that thing. That's awesome. That thing is so fast. And that has ball screws instead of lead screws. I'm not 100% on what the difference is, but I do know a ball screw is better. I think the ball nut or whatever that it uses to move the spindle back and forth, or your bearings back and forth, it's got better bearings in it or something. Now on the Langmeyer Systems plasma table I have, these are called lead screws. I think they're a little less accurate maybe, or a little less robust, might be a better word. But so our sign has been cut. It's complete. So I might be able to just pull this thing on out here. Now I'm going to have to cut my tabs. So let's do that and we'll get this sign out of here and let you guys see it. Okay guys, so here it is, cut out and removed. As you can see, we still got some rough edges. And let me show you why this tool right here, this little palm router, is one of the best tools you can buy if you're doing any kind of CNC stuff like this for signs. So the pre-stain is pretty simple. Always just don't shake it, but give it a real good stir. You don't want a bunch of bubbles in there, so don't do all that. I mean, this is pretty dang easy. I'm mixing it up a little bit better with the brush. Then I kind of trying to soften up the brush bristles from where they've been sitting in the fridge for a while. And then that's it. You just literally start to kind of apply this stuff. You know, it says to go with the grain. I mean, that's what I do, just because I don't really know. I mean, not really because it says so, but more of just kind of the natural way that I tend to apply this stuff. So we'll do that. And I put a good coat on it. I really like this Varathane brand pre-stain, wood conditioner, whatever you want to call it. It seems to leave a thicker coating, and it kind of sits on the wood longer than some of the thinner kind that I've used does. So this right here, you're supposed to let this sit for about 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, what we want to do is wipe it down real good, and then we'll do the sides, and we'll go ahead and do the sides now. Then we'll do the back last. But yeah, after about 5 minutes, you want to dry this stuff up. And anytime you use a pre-stain, it's really important that you stain within 2 hours of using the pre-stain. I'm not sure if it completely seals the wood or what it does, but I'm not going to mess with it because I don't want to jeopardize, spending, an hour and a half on a project and then just being stubborn, to ruin, a good project. So anyway, we're just going to continue on. And if I ever see a spot soak it up quicker on the wood, say this grain up here it's kind of wider, I bet it's a little softer, it might soak in this pre-stain a little sooner. I might give it another second kind of just quick coat. And I just kind of watch that as I'm pre-staining the whole thing. So we got one more side, we'll do this bottom, then we're going to let it sit for about 5 minutes. Okay guys, there you have it. We turned this piece of scrap wood at the very beginning of this video into this beautiful front door sign that will hopefully send a warm message to some of these solicitors that my customer is currently experiencing on a daily basis. So anyway, if you guys really like this video, please subscribe, hit the like button. I've got a lot more projects coming, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.